Hello, my dear listeners. Thanks for joining the show today. It's great to have you. Today, I'm going to talk about digital marketing and content creation with a local real estate agent, Scott Steele. He has been running his YouTube channel for about a year, and he's transitioning to podcasting. And when I first talked to him about the content that he's creating and the digital marketing strategies he is deploying, I was very intrigued. From a digital marketing and strategy perspective, it was very different and it was very interesting to me because a lot of people will go out there and put content with just very specific, sales in mind or very specific, hidden objectives in mind. But Scott truly takes the objective of trying to serve his audience with the type of content that would benefit him or benefit the audience, that is. And so it's a slightly different approach. He also shares some strategies for how he goes about choosing the right channels, which makes total sense to me. So for those of you that are maybe not sure which channel to focus on and how to make your channel choices, he's got some great insights into that. And he also talks about using the algorithm to help find your audience versus you doing it, because the algorithm on YouTube and some of these social media platforms actually does a really good job of finding your audience. So getting started with the right audience really has an impact because the algorithm then starts to show your content or share your content with people that have already subscribed. So he takes a slightly different approach in how he promotes his content. And I think you'll benefit from hearing from that because I think it's a very different and an almost counterintuitive way of approaching digital marketing. So tune in. Learn some great tactics and some great strategies in terms of how you could approach content and how you could approach content marketing in this day and age of digital marketing. So let's get started with Scott.
Welcome to the latest episode of Corner Your Market. I'm your host, Silas Kimide. In this podcast, I talk about all things digital marketing, from website design and development to SEO and PPC, as well as paid advertising, email marketing, social media, and anything in between. If you're a small business owner, a marketing manager in a company, or an entrepreneur, this podcast is for you. So tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. You'll gain some practical insights, new strategies, tactics, and tools that will help you grow your business. To subscribe, go to corneryourmarketpodcast.com and select the podcast app of your choice. Then you can hit subscribe within those apps. That again is corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Also, don't forget to like and share our individual episodes. You can also leave a review in the app once you've listened to one of our episodes.
Today we have Scott joining our podcast. So I want to welcome Scott Steele to the podcast. I really appreciate your time, Scott. Thanks for being on here. I know it's been great getting to know you. You just have a great energy about you, and you bring positivity and you bring enthusiasm and eagerness. And as a business owner, I love that. So welcome to the show, Scott.
Silas, thank you. It took me some practice to get your name down, but I think I've got it now. So Silas, just like stylish. I love it.
Yeah.
So thank you.
And remember, I always give people 50 chances and I don't keep track.
It only took me about 10. So yeah, I've got it down. It's Silas. I just have to remember that H is not even there.
Yeah, it's not there. Yeah. Some people that spell it don't put an H in there. But my father, when he was writing my name down, he put an H in there because he was a purist. So today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, I know you're in real estate, but as a real estate agent, you've really focused a lot on bringing value to your audience. And one of the ways that you've been doing it is through digital media, right? Through YouTube channels and content and things like that. Can you talk a little bit about maybe how you're using digital media to bring value to your clients and to your prospects?
Absolutely. In my world, it's beyond competitive. It's more competitive now than ever, especially having gone through the market that we've just passed through. More real estate agents joined in the last few years than ever. We had record numbers. And so as it's become more competitive, the attention of the consumer has gone more and more digital. Obviously, everybody knows that. Right. But everything that's important to me in terms of my message and the problems that I want to solve for people, the things that I want to discover about my potential clients or just people in general, I don't find a way to reach those people unless it's through some digital means. For
Right.
example, it's been really uncomfortable for me to start getting on camera, but now I love it. I'm really into it, and I think it's the best way to connect with people digitally. But it's not just video; it's podcasts, it's blog posts, it's emails, it's your website, it's every platform that you're using. It's all digital.
Yeah.
There's no way to connect with enough people in today's world unless you're leveraging digital means.
That's true. That's true. And so how do you go about that? I mean, cuz you have your primary goal of obviously selling real estate, but to get the buyer or the seller engaged and through the process, I mean, how do you think of the content? Cuz a lot of people that I talk to, business owners that I talk to, talk about they don't know what to put on there, they don't know how to get
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
Resources are limited, time is resource. How do you manage that part? How do you approach that side?
Okay. Speaking directly from the real estate space, there's two reasons why real estate agents do a poor job of marketing themselves and giving the proper message digitally, whether it be through video or social media. And there's two things that hold them back. Number one, they're too concerned with what other people think about them. And number two, they don't know what to post. They don't know
Oh,
what
okay.
to say.
Right.
And that's the easiest one in the world because all you have to do, if you want to know what to post, just go find what people are searching for. And it's so easy. It's at your fingertips. Google and YouTube are the easiest platforms to go find out what people are searching for. It's called keyword research. It's super simple. And
Hmm.
if you just answer the consumer's questions, they're specific questions. The more specific, the better. You'll get people that resonate with your message. So
That is a
I think
great point,
to
to be
answer your
honest with you.
question, it's just answering people's questions and giving them what they want. Instead
I've
of,
been talking to
I was going to say, instead of being wrapped up in what you want to deliver to them, if you can flip that script and just think about what they want and give it to them, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been our approach for many, many years when we're doing SEO and content marketing, to be honest with you, for a lot of our business owners, is they'll always say, well, what is there to talk about? And I just say, well, go talk to your salespeople. What are the questions your prospects are asking you?
Yeah.
And write a blog post about those questions. It's not that hard to get content, and you'd be surprised at how much search traffic you get from that. Also, I also tell people at the end of the day, I mean, depending on your business, right? If you have enough of a revenue coming in from one client, you're not trying to get 100,000 clients. You're trying to
No.
get one or two a month. For real estate, I don't know how many you need, but for a lot
Right.
of our clients, for the amount of money they're spending on marketing just to pay for it, you need two or three clients. Not a lot.
Right. I think that's a big misconception in my world. Agents think that they need more views, more subscribers, more followers, when in fact you literally need 100 people in your world that really truly care about you and would do business with you or refer you, and you'll make a better living than the vast majority of people. It doesn't
Right.
take a huge number. It's not quantity. It's connecting with people's emotions and why they're transacting in the way that they're transacting and giving them and delivering them what they want and solving their problems.
So how does one go about deciding which platform to be on? Because there's a lot of them out there, right?
Okay, I have a strong opinion about this.
Okay, I want to hear
Okay.
it. I want to hear it.
Okay, I before getting my real estate license, I renovated homes and flipped homes and built homes as well. And before getting into this business, I would always make fun of real estate agents' content, whether it be
Okay.
social media or video or whatever it was, because it just doesn't resonate at all.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
care to see that you sold a house for X amount over listing price or whatever else. I think it's oftentimes very self-serving, and I just don't like it. I just don't like it. And so for me, when I was choosing a platform for me, there's a ton of them out there, and obviously there's going to be new platforms that come out. We just saw Threads come out, but each person has their own platform that they really enjoy consuming content on. And it's
Mhm.
my job as a business owner to not consume, but to create. And that has to align with my core beliefs and my values. And so when I'm looking at all the platforms, whether it be Instagram or Facebook, and even LinkedIn, there's platforms that I can distribute content on and focus my energy on. and they're basically socially based. So all of those platforms are social. And then TikTok rolls around and they kind of flip things upside down. And in my opinion, TikTok is purely interest based. It's not socially based, it's interest based. And that's why it exploded. And that's why Instagram and Facebook and other platforms started copying what they were doing, because they saw TikTok getting so much attention. And ultimately, I think the one that wins out is YouTube. They were a little late to the party. They were a little late to the party with YouTube Shorts. But Google, there's no company in this world more positioned than Google to monetize this for creators and bring those creators to YouTube as opposed to TikTok. TikTok's trying to get into the monetization game, but when people want interest-based content, they search it out. Instead of being disrupted in their scroll through social networks, they're searching it out. And where do people do that? Number one, it's Google. Number two, it's YouTube. And so it makes no sense for me to do anything else unless I'm doing YouTube first, in my opinion.
That's a great, I mean, I kind of came to that party. I arrived at the same conclusion that you arrived at a little over a process. I thought when I started the podcast journey, I'm just going to do podcasts. And then as I was looking at podcast, sound is not indexed very well on the internet. Like you can't do searches for podcasts based on, it's really, it's not like words and it's not like video where there's YouTube has really made video, finding videos easy. And then I looked at the way in which I found the podcast that I enjoy, and it has been on YouTube through Shorts. Yeah. There's 2 podcast people that I found in the last 6 months that I really enjoy listening to. I became a subscriber with them through YouTube. So I think that's a great point and also one thing that you said to me a couple of months ago, maybe a month ago, was focusing on education versus entertainment. Can you talk about that a little bit? Are agents which way do you see agents focusing?
I think it depends on the personality. Some people are just much more entertaining than me. I personally love educational content. So when I look at what I like to consume on YouTube, it's all educational based.
Okay.
And so if I'm creating educational type content, it resonates with me. And if it resonates with me, I'm going to enjoy doing it. I don't care that a lot of people aren't going to resonate with that a lot of people want the entertainment stuff. I can't appeal to everybody, but what I can do is appeal to people that are similar to me. And that's people that like the educational based content.
Okay. Got it. Okay. So I guess you answered one of my questions here. I'm looking at my questions. I said, what inspired you to start your YouTube channel? I think you just answered that already. So thank you for.
Well, okay. Let me elaborate on that just a little bit. Yeah. So what inspired me to create a YouTube channel? It did not come natural. And we'll talk more about that. It's kind of embarrassing, but I think there's no better way to spread your message than through video on YouTube, in my opinion, and at scale. I can go and network in networking groups. I can go get to know everybody in the community through community events. I can go to every social gathering or event that I can possibly come up with, and I can't scratch the surface compared to with how many people I can connect through video on YouTube.
Right.
So
it's got a huge audience.
If my why as to why I want to deliver this message is important enough to me, I'll get uncomfortable and put myself on YouTube and figure it out and get a little bit better each time.
So how does so you got the content down there. How do you, I've struggled with this myself, and I'm sure business owners will ask this question is, how do you justify your time and everything and energy? I mean, do you measure that somehow and say, hey, if I'm getting X amount of whatever, then it's worthwhile? Or are you just going to put yourself out there?
Well, in the beginning, so to go back, I started my YouTube channel exactly 1 year ago. And I knew for a long time, since January of last year, that I wanted to do it. And I started getting really frustrated with myself for not having done it yet. And what it took for me was having an accountability partner that was also trying to do it. And I say trying because he did it for just 3 weeks and that was it. But that accountability with $100 on the line every week that we didn't create a video is what got me moving, right?
Okay.
That's what started everything for me. And it got me started and it got me uncomfortable. And I think that was crucial in the beginning. But over time, it's all been difficult. Everything's difficult until you start getting good at it.
Right.
You know?
Difficult from just a process standpoint? Just
everything. Yeah. It doesn't come natural.
Right.
To kind of take this the direction that I feel like I need to share. Like, I didn't know how to use a camera. In my
Mm.
previous life, I know how to use every tool imaginable. Woodworking wise, it's my hobby, it's my passion. If I show you my desk in my office, I built it. Everything in my office, I build. My furniture at home. I mean, I love working with my hands and tools. But when I put a camera in my hand, I was completely inept. I didn't know the
That's
first thing about
interesting.
editing or how to use a camera other than turning it on. I didn't know what any of the things meant. And so for me in the beginning, I tried using my cell phone and it got very frustrating. And so I finally just went and bought a GoPro, because a GoPro, I
Okay.
can push one button and go, right?
Right.
It's a GoPro. And so I thought, you know what? Doing something is better than not doing something as well as I'd like to. So you just, done is better than better. Just go do it. And I started creating, I think the first dozen videos were on a GoPro, and the sound is terrible. The video
Okay.
quality is terrible. The editing is terrible. But from there, you just get, you get into it and you find your
Yeah.
passions and you start figuring out a way to get just a little better with one thing each video.
Yeah.
And
That's
I think that's
1%
my,
improvement.
I think that's my goal. And, getting a lot of good advice from other people that have done the thing that I'm trying to do. It's, it's been, it's been really inspiring to look at those people and not compare myself with where they currently are, but with where they started and what their journey was just a chapter or two ahead of mine. And ultimately, unless you've created 20, 50, or 100 videos, you really haven't even started yet. And so
Right.
just do the first 100 videos, suck at them. And in every video, just try to get a little better in each one. And then by the time you do 100, you're going to find your way. You're going to find your niche. You're going to find what inspires you. And
Right.
you're going to find a way to move forward to the next 100 videos.
Right.
And that's what's
Right.
happened. That's what's happened to me. I never thought I would enjoy doing this. And now I'm really loving it. And I've got a whole vision as to where I want to take this.
How has the response been from your audience? Like, what is are you finding that the people that you're working with really appreciate what you've done? Like the content that they've consumed from you?
Yeah. I mean, there's haters out there no matter where you go. There's people that will say things, and those things do not faze me whatsoever.
Like, what are some of the things that the haters say?
Oh, in the beginning, I
Curious.
remember vividly, I was on a vacation with my family, and we're up in the mountains and we're staying at a lodge. And I remember I reply to every comment on my YouTube channel,
Oh, you do?
and
Okay.
I reply to every single comment. But this guy was just nasty. I mean, he was using vulgarities. He was saying, I don't know what I'm talking about. And the reasoning behind his logic is just completely error. It's not true. And so when I'm trying to come from a place of giving expertise and knowledge, he just wasn't having it.
Mm,
He's
interesting.
he's formulated his opinions and he's ignorant, and so I just have to move on and forget that guy. But for a moment, it did affect me, and it affected how I wanted to create the next video. But I just don't care anymore.
It's interesting how there's haters and everything.
Yeah,
You mentioned I have language videos. I teach kids how to write the Nepali script. I made that 13 years ago.
I've seen your videos.
14 years ago. So here's the thing: is after I made those videos, I made 26 of those videos because there's 26 letters in the alphabet. No, I made 12. I did 2 per video,
Yeah,
and then. So after I did those, I was so excited. I thought, hey, I need to expand my audience because the Nepali language audience is smaller than the Hindi language audience. Obviously, India being 10, 15 times bigger than Nepal.
yeah.
So I thought, you know what? It's the same script. I'm going to do the Hindi language ones as well and see if I can build an audience there. And so I created 3 or 4 of those and I put it on and oh boy, the haters came out. They said, we can hear your accent. You're not a native Hindi speaker. And I'm like, who cares? I'm just teaching the script. I'm not teaching you how to speak the language. I'm just teaching you the script. What does it matter? But I let that bother me, Scott. I stopped making those videos. I let that bother me. For years, I would not go to my YouTube channel for years. I'm not joking.
Wow,
So there
that's
are haters
crazy.
everywhere, man.
Yeah, just
Anything you do.
ignore them. And honestly, I think the best approach for yourself is to think in terms of, if someone's going to take time out of their day to spread hate, I
Mhm.
just feel sorry for them. And
Yeah,
I wish that they were in a better place, because it's a much more enjoyable place to be when you're in
right.
a place of abundance and giving and encouraging, despite somebody's lack of whatever you perceive their lack thereof. But when I see somebody doing a YouTube channel and their videos are terrible and their audio is terrible and they're not natural on camera, I just think to myself now, power to you. You're doing it. Good job.
Yeah,
Like, at least
yeah,
you're doing it.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. No, that's great. That's great. So, a little bit about how does the real estate part of your business affect your, like your the content that you create? Are you specifically focused on Salt Lake or general real estate concepts, or what, or is there a particular set of buyers that you're going after? Are your videos for first time buyers? How do you decide where to focus on?
Okay, so this has been a journey over time for me, and I've looked at mentors around the country, one specifically who's in Florida, who does the content the way that I want to do it. And it's, if you look at my YouTube channel right now, I'm not there yet. And I'm
Mm.
just starting to embark on that journey of not copying him, because I don't think that's the correct approach. But I've been really inspired to go and really broadly expand the type of content I create. So for me, I'm trying to speak to people that are either relocating here to Utah, like you did,
Mhm.
or I'm talking to people that have relocated here somewhat recently who may just have found a place to live, but now they're ready to really dig their roots in. And so people that aren't from Utah are a perfect person for me, because over the last 2 decades, if I did an analysis of where all of my clients are from, they're 80% of them are from out of state.
Oh, okay, got
So
it.
obviously something about me resonates with them.
Mm.
And I think it's a perfect fit because I
Yeah.
love sharing everything about Utah. So the content that I'll be creating on my YouTube channel moving forward is going to be centered around life in Utah. What is it like? What's happening here? Why do people want to live here? And why do people maybe not want to live here? I think that's a big one to
Mhm.
talk about too. What's the worst thing about living here from my perspective? But also giving them community and neighborhood tours and updates about the new construction projects or different developments happening in our communities. I love talking about that kind of stuff. So those things combined with home tours and property tours and new construction developments, along with a weekly podcast, video podcast where I do live Q&A, that's the direction I'm taking my channel.
Awesome. That's a great vision. I really like that vision because we've relocated different states a couple of times in my life. And the first time when we moved to Arizona, we wanted to buy, but we talked to our agent in Wisconsin, and his company had an agent in Arizona. He just referred us and we just went with her.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't really feel like, hey,
Yeah.
we're not going to go shopping around because this is also 2004, so a little bit
Yeah.
different time
Different
frame.
world. Yeah.
And then when we moved to Utah, we stayed at an Airbnb, and I was looking at the profile of the owner, and it turns out she's an agent. So we just kind of had the conversation with her, and she took us out, and there you go. So I think for out of state people,
Yeah.
you do need to find somebody that is comfortable and right for you, and not just take. I'm not saying I had bad experiences with either of these ladies. They did a great job, but
Mhm.
it could have been a bad job because we didn't really get to see a full picture. And I think the audience nowadays has the ability to go on YouTube, go on search, find out more about
Yeah.
who's the best agent, what do they know, who they are, and get a sense for you based on your content. They might not watch the whole 40-minute episode, but they'll watch 2 or 3 minutes and get a good sense for who you are, right? So I think that's kind of the idea there. So it could really work well. What are what advice would you give to somebody that is trying to first get? I know just do it I'm hearing that over and over again. Just do it, but
Okay. So regardless of what,
mentally overcoming some mental barriers, maybe.
okay. Yeah. The mental barriers they're going to be many, and everything
Mm.
is going to give you an excuse to not do it. Um, but I hope that most people could agree that this is the way that we can get our message to the most number of people. I can't find somebody that's willing to debate that and actually be able to put together a great argument against it. So I think for me, the best tips I could provide in terms of just getting started is I strongly believe in what you feed your mind is where you're going to go, and you plant those
Mhm.
seeds in your mind and it's going to help you. So find some people, whether it be in your industry or maybe another, that's doing content the way that you like, that you actually enjoy consuming, and reach out to them, or kind of not mimic, but match what they're doing, and not maybe not in their current state, but when they started. What did they do when they got started? How did they get started? And just watch them. I think it's
Right.
inspiring to watch others to some degree, but then we get caught in this loop of always trying to learn before we press record. And
Mhm.
ultimately,
Mhm.
regardless if it's your cell phone or a GoPro or a nice camera, you've got to just click the button and go
Yeah.
and be willing to get uncomfortable. And I think accountability with a partner in some fashion, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's a business partner, maybe it's an employee, but regardless, if you have some sense of accountability, you're going to get things moving.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good point. What are some of the things that you've really enjoyed about this process? What are some highs for you? I mean,
I think number one is it's forcing me to learn how to be a better communicator,
okay.
to be able to formulate my thoughts better and get those points across without having to overthink it. I think that's one of the greatest skills. I think it helps your leadership abilities.
Mm-hmm.
I think my favorite thing, honestly, as soon as I started creating videos, I had so many people talk to me, reach out to me and say, "Hey, that's awesome. I need to do that too." And like, I didn't even know that you would ever see this, because I'm not telling everybody that I'm doing it.
Right.
Not out of fear, but I genuinely believe that the YouTube algorithm is going to do a lot better job at finding the right people for my message than I ever could. And so
That's a good point.
right? Like, I don't believe in sharing my content with people that it's not going to resonate with them, because it's going to screw up what I'm trying to get out there in the world anyway. So, but yeah, getting feedback from people that love you, care about you, or just know you, and out of the blue, they tell you, "Hey, I saw your video. That's awesome." And they're inspired by it. And my videos sucked. And I was like, "That's inspiring to you?" Like, but what's inspiring is that you're doing it.
Right.
And
so
then,
do you push your content? I mean, once you've uploaded, do you push it on your social networks at all? Or
not
do
at
you just
all.
Not at all.
I
Okay.
I purposefully don't. I don't want people viewing the content that it's not the right fit for them. For example, if I have 100 people in my sphere of influence that live in my area, that live here in Utah, that this message that I'm getting across doesn't resonate with them in any way, why would I want them to go click on one video and bounce? Why would I want them to subscribe to my channel if they're not going to watch the videos? That affects what your output is in terms of, what type of, it affects how YouTube's going to push your content to new people. True. And when you're really small, it's more impactful. It's more important than ever. Once you get bigger, there's no way that 100 people or even 1,000 people could ever mess up the algorithm to the point where it's going to make a difference. But in the beginning, I think it's crucial to not do that.
That's an interesting point, because that's almost counterintuitive, right?
It's
because you're
totally counterintuitive.
Yeah.
And if you start spreading your YouTube channel, you come across as a salesperson. And I just don't believe that that's the way to spread your message. Yeah. Spread your message by answering people's questions and giving them what they want, and check your own objectives at the door. Leave what you're trying to push out to the world. Stop pushing and just let others pull you into their world by giving them what they want.
That's great insights, man. I think that's really powerful, because most people would create their content, and the first thing and I do it, I put it on my LinkedIn profile. Mm-hmm. And I also notice it's the same people liking it. Hey, I love you guys if you're listening, but I'm not trying to knock you, but I'm trying to go beyond them, is what I'm trying to say, is trying to get more. And I think the LinkedIn algorithm shows it to them because they liked it in the past, right? So same thing. And then it tries to find people like them, and I'm happy for it. But I like your approach there. It's a little counterintuitive. I think long term, it's a winning strategy. So power to you, man. I love it. I love it. I really enjoyed it. So, okay. So as we kind of wrap up a little bit, what are some things, what are some things that you watch, read to stay inspired, man? I mean, just a little bit on the personal side.
So for me, I truly believe in feeding your mind is one of the most important, crucial things there you could possibly do. What you put into your mind is what you're going to get out. And so for me, a morning routine is crucial. I read every single day in the mornings and throughout the day. And it's things of spiritual nature, but it's also things of self-development or personal development. Right now I'm reading a
book that you've. Okay, go ahead. You were about to get to that. Yeah.
I finished Atomic Habits for the second time. So I've as of late, I've kind of been on this kick of reading books a second time. And for me, I have to read the actual physical book. I feel like I get more out of it when it's my own voice in my own head reading the message as opposed to listening to somebody else on audio.
Yeah.
And that's just me.
Yeah.
So I read Atomic Habits for the second time. And right now I'm in the middle of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And I think the power of doing these things really is magnified when you share it with others. So when I share the concepts that I'm relearning by rereading 7 Habits, and I'm doing it with my wife in the evening for 30 minutes and talking to her about these things, it's more impactful to me. And when I share it with, a colleague or someone else in business in general, I think it really magnifies the power that you get out of the content that you're consuming. And then the other thing that's, with respect to books, as far as digital, because digital is my favorite way to consume things, specifically YouTube, I purposefully made the choice to uninstall Instagram from my phone. I don't feel like it feeds my mind with the right things. And it's not to say that there's not great people producing great content on Instagram. There's just way too many distractions. And I don't find it at all, aiding me in what I want to accomplish. I've never signed up or downloaded TikTok, and I choose not to.
Yeah.
So for me, YouTube, you can find a lot of bad things in YouTube as well, but I feel like I can go search out the things I want to find on YouTube and feed myself with those things. So to deliberately go through my channels that I actually choose to subscribe to and only choosing the ones that are serving me it's a conscious decision I've made many times. Every 6 months, I go and I just make sure that the ones that are in there are the ones that I actually want to currently consume, because that changes over time as well.
Yeah,
so,
for sure. So if your message, as you've been on the call, as you've been on the show, if your message has resonated with certain people, how can they get a hold of you, Scott? I mean, how do they reach out to you?
Rather than spread everything, it's just YouTube. My name is Scott D. Steele. I'm a Utah real estate agent, but yeah, just YouTube.
Okay, I'll put that in the show notes for people that I'll put the link to your show there so they can connect with you there. So
perfect.
But hey, we're coming up on our time here, so really appreciate the conversation, Scott. It was great. It's been great you're an innovative thinker. You're a different thinker. You think counterintuitively, and that's part of the reason why I was really excited to talk to you about all these things. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate you being on the show, and we will maybe do it again next year. Who knows? See how it goes.
Thanks, Silas. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
If you're a small business owner, a marketer in a company, or an entrepreneur, this podcast is for you. You'll become better educated and informed when it comes to digital marketing. And if you implement the strategies, tactics, and tools I discuss in this podcast, your business will grow and prosper. To subscribe, go to corneryourmarketpodcast.com. That again is corneryourmarketpodcast.com. You can also search for Corner Your Market in Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast, and you can subscribe through those apps. Also, don't forget to like and share our individual episodes. You can also leave a review. Finally, I would love to hear from you, so if you have any questions, feedback, or general comments about the topics I discuss, feel free to send me an email. I will be sure to share and discuss your feedback on the air if it will benefit our listening audience. You can write to me at connect@corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Just put listener comment in the subject line. That email again is connect@corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Thanks for listening. I look forward to being back next week. Until then, be good and do good.